Mr. Davis because he's always been
I love
nice.
Mr. Davis because every time I walk past him, he pulls my ear.
I love Mr. Davis because he made an impact.
I love Mr. Davis because he is funny.
I love Mr. Davis because he's an outstanding.
I love Mr. Davis because he made an impact on my
I
life.
love Mr. Davis because
I
he
love
is
Mr.
funny.
Davis because the happiness and kindness he put in the school.
I love Mr. Davis because he was a very kind and nice principal.
I love Mr. Davis because he is nice to kids and makes good rules.
I love Mr. Davis because he was always nice to everyone.
I love Mr. Davis because he's
I
nice.
love Mr. Davis because he's the best principal.
I love Mr. Davis because he put a smile on my face whenever I didn't feel like smiling.
I love Mr. Davis because he was a great principal and did an amazing job at our school. Enjoy your retirement.
I love Mr. Davis because he was the best principal ever.
I like Mr. Davis because he is the best principal
I
ever.
love Mr. Davis because he's kind, caring,
I
and
love
smart.
Mr. Davis because he is my favorite.
I love Mr. Davis because it was
I
really
love
funny.
Mr. Davis because he is so funny and makes us.
I love Mr. Davis because he's my favorite principal in the whole
I
entire
love
world.
Mr. Davis because he is always so funny.
I love Mr. Davis because he is super kind.
I love Mr. Davis because he is nice.
I love Mr. Davis because
I love
he's very
Mr.
nice.
Davis because I've known him since kindergarten. And he was always nice to me and
I
all
love
people.
Mr. Davis because he was a really, really, really nice principal.
I love Mr. Davis because he was one of the sweetest principals ever, and because he was the sweetest.
I love Mr. Davis because it is always nice to see him in school.
I love Mr. Davis because he is a good guy. He is nice.
I love Mr. Davis because he wears the best ties ever and he also gives me fist bumps anytime.
I love Mr. Davis because he helps us when we have
I
trouble.
love Mr. Davis because
I love
is
Mr.
nice.
Davis because he was a phenomenal
I
principal.
love Mr. Davis because he made a difference in my
I love
life.
Mr. Davis because he is nice
I
and
love
funny.
Mr. Davis because he was my family's principal and mine too. Thank you for teaching us.
I love Mr. Davis because he is super
I love
kind.
Mr. Davis because he was close and
I
a
love
good
Mr.
friend.
Davis because he's
I
a
love
funny
Mr.
guy.
Davis because he is so nice, sweet, and lovable.
I love Mr. Davis because he has such a big heart and is so.
I love Mr. Davis because he was the best principal there ever was.
I love Mr. Davis because when he was my principal, he was so kind and never was mean to me.
I love Mr. Davis because he is awesome and helps everybody. Congratulations on your retirement. I hope you have a good life.
I love Mr. Davis because he always has been kind to everybody sincerely. I love Mr. Davis because he's one of my favorite principals and kind, funny, and smart too.
I love Mr. Davis because he was the best principal. He made us all
Mr.
happy.
Davis because he is my uncle and he made a big part in my life. Sincerely, Jackson Lips.
love Mr. Davis because he is
I love
nice.
Mr. Davis because he's
nice.
I love Mr. Davis because he is a kind man and also because he's a heartwarming man.
Mr. Davis because he is so kind. Mr. Davis because he's a nice principal.
I love Mr. Davis because he was a great principal.
I love Mr. Davis because he loved this school and he is fantastic.
Mr. Davis because he was a good principal when he was a principal here. Love Mr. Davis because he was so nice.
I love Mr. Davis because he makes us all happy.
I love Mr. Davis because he is nice to
I love
us.
Mr. Davis because he's the best principal.
I love Mr. Davis because he is kind and nice.
I like Mr. Davis because he's a nice.
Mr. Davis because he's kind and sweet.
I love Mr. Davis because he gives us fist bumps and high fives.
Mr. Davis because he is a nice person and he is.
Was a great principal, and you were so kind.
I love Mr. Davis because he is sweet and kind and nice.
I love Mr. Davis because he's so nice and kind. I love Mr. Davis because he's nice, kind, thoughtful and selfless.
Mr. Davis because you were the best teacher.
I love Mr. Davis because he used to be our principal.